The cast-off assignment commander Sarah Chun stood at the airlock of the UFS Resilience, watching the Galactic Alliance transport ship disappear into the star-filled void. The massive vessel carried diplomats and officials back to their comfortable stations, leaving her with what could generously be called the worst assignment in human military history. The Resilience floated beside her like a wounded beast, its hull patched with mismatched metal plates and its engines barely humming with life. The ship had been a civilian mining vessel just 6 months ago, part of the Earth colonial fleet's industrial operations. When the Galactic Alliance grudgingly accepted humanity's application for membership, they demanded Earth provide a military vessel for integration training. The problem was simple. Humanity had no real military ships that could match alien technology. So they took the Resilience, bolted some outdated weapons onto its hull, and called it a warship. Sarah walked through the corridors of her new command, her boots echoing against metal floors that had once carried mining equipment and ore containers. The walls were lined with exposed pipes and conduits, giving the ship an industrial feel that no amount of military modification could hide. Her crew of 150 humans had been handpicked from various Earth services, each one volunteering for what everyone knew was a suicide mission. Lieutenant Commander Marcus Rodriguez, her first officer, met her at the bridge entrance. His weathered face showed the strain of the past few weeks as they prepared for departure. Rodriguez had served on mining vessels for 15 years before the military conversion, making him one of the few people who actually understood how the ship worked. "Commander, the Galactic Alliance observers are requesting a final inspection," Rodriguez said, his voice carrying barely concealed frustration. "They want to verify our readiness for the mission." Sarah nodded, knowing that the inspection was really just another opportunity for the aliens to demonstrate their superiority. She followed Rodriguez onto the bridge, where 3 alien representatives waited with obvious impatience. The first was HFY, a tall insectoid being from the HFY, Kithara Confederation. His compound eyes reflected the dim lighting as he studied the human control systems with what could only be described as disgust. Beside him stood Veltar, a crystalline being from the Resonance Collective. Her translucent body pulsed with internal light as she communicated through harmonic frequencies that the ship's computers translated into speech. The third observer was perhaps the most intimidating. General Thane of the Drakmor Empire, a reptilian warrior whose species had conquered dozens of star systems. "Commander Chun," HFY began, his voice clicking through the translation device, "we have completed our evaluation of your vessel. The results are ... concerning." Sarah maintained her professional demeanor despite the condescension in the alien's tone. "What specific concerns do you have?" Veltar's harmonic voice filled the bridge. "Your weapon systems are primitive projectile launchers. Your shields operate on principles our species abandoned centuries ago. Your engines produce barely enough power to achieve faster-than-light travel." General Thane stepped forward, his massive frame casting a shadow over the human officers. "Your species has been assigned to patrol the Void Sector, specifically the region around the Kepler anomaly. It is considered a training ground for new members of the Alliance." Sarah knew about the Void Sector. It was the galactic equivalent of being sent to guard an empty warehouse. The region contained nothing but dead stars, asteroid fields, and the occasional pirate raid. It was where the Alliance sent species they expected to fail quietly. "We understand the assignment," Sarah replied. "My crew is ready to serve." HFY's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. "Your crew may be ready, but your vessel is not. The Resilience lacks the basic defensive capabilities necessary for survival in contested space. Any encounter with hostile forces will result in immediate destruction." Dr. Elena Vasquez, the ship's chief science officer, spoke up from her station. "Our scans show the Void Sector has been peaceful for decades." surely a patrol mission that is well within our capabilities. The three aliens exchanged glances that needed no translation. They were watching humans walk into what they believed was certain death, and they found it amusing. The void sector has been peaceful, General Thane said slowly, because most species avoid it. The Kepler anomaly generates electromagnetic storms. That can disable advanced technology. Your primitive systems might actually have an advantage in that environment. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. The aliens weren't just giving them a meaningless assignment. They were sending them to a region where their advanced technology would be useless, hoping that whatever dangers lurked there would eliminate the troublesome humans without the Alliance having to take direct action. We'll complete our mission, Sarah said firmly. Earth's military doesn't abandon its posts. The alien observers left the ship without ceremony, their transport disappearing into hyperspace within minutes. Sarah gathered her senior staff in the briefing room, a cramped space that had once been used for mining operation planning. The table was scarred metal, and the chairs were uncomfortable, but it was theirs. "Give me the honest assessment," Sarah said to her assembled officers. Chief Engineer Tommy Park, a small Korean-American man who had spent his career maintaining industrial equipment, shook his head. "The ship will hold together, but barely. The power systems are overloaded, the weapons are a joke, and the life support is jury-rigged. We're essentially flying a civilian vessel with military paint." Lieutenant Helen Murphy, the tactical officer, pulled up a holographic display showing their assigned patrol route. The void sector is 12 light years across. If we encounter any real threats, we'll have no chance of fighting them off or calling for help. Dr. Vasquez leaned forward, her dark eyes intense. "There's something else. The Kepler anomaly isn't just an electromagnetic storm. My preliminary research suggests it's something much more significant. The energy readings are unlike anything in our databases." Sarah studied the faces around the table. These people had volunteered to represent humanity in the galaxy, knowing they were being set up to fail. They deserved better than a converted mining ship and a patrol route designed to keep them out of the way. "Then we'll have to be better than they expect," Sarah said. "We're humans. We've survived ice ages, world wars, and the colonization of hostile planets. We can handle a few electromagnetic storms." The journey to the void sector took 3 days through hyperspace. The Resilience's engines strained with every jump, but Tommy Park's engineering team kept them running through sheer determination and creative problem-solving. When they finally arrived at their patrol station, the sight that greeted them was both beautiful and ominous. That the Kepler anomaly dominated the local space, a swirling vortex of energy that stretched across several million kilometers. Lightning-like discharges crackled between massive formations of crystallized matter, creating a light show that would have been stunning if it weren't so dangerous. The electromagnetic interference was so intense that their sensors could barely penetrate the outer layers. "Commander, I'm picking up something unusual," Dr. Vasquez reported from her science station. "There's a structure inside the anomaly. It's not natural." Sarah moved to the science station, studying the readings. Through the electromagnetic chaos, she could make out what appeared to be a massive artificial construct, easily the size of a small moon. Its surface was covered in geometric patterns that seemed to shift and change as she watched. "Could it be a ship?" she asked. "It's too big to be a ship," Vasquez replied. "But it's definitely artificial. The energy signature is completely different from anything in our databases." Lieutenant Murphy ran tactical scans, her instruments struggling against the interference. "Whatever it is, it's been there for a long time. I'm reading massive structural decay, but the core seems intact." Rodriguez joined them at the science station. "Could this be why the aliens sent us here? Maybe they know about this thing and want us to investigate it." Sarah considered the possibility. The Galactic Alliance had been surprisingly specific about their patrol route, ensuring they would pass close to the anomaly. If they knew about the structure inside, they might be using the humans as expendable scouts. "Can we get closer?" Sarah asked. Tommy Park's voice crackled over the intercom from the engine room. "The electromagnetic interference will play hell with our systems, but the old mining equipment might actually handle it better than military-grade technology. We can try." Sarah made the decision that would change everything. "Take us in, slowly. I want to know what that thing is." The Resilience moved cautiously into the anomaly, its hull shuddering as waves of electromagnetic energy washed over it. The bridge lights flickered, and several systems went offline, but the ship's industrial-grade construction held together. As they penetrated deeper into the storm, the mysterious structure became clearer. It was a space station, but unlike anything in human or alien records. The design was elegant and organic, as if it had been grown rather than built. Massive spires twisted through space, connected by bridges that seemed to defy physics. The entire structure pulsed with a faint blue light that cut through the electromagnetic chaos. "I'm reading massive power reserves," Dr. Vasquez reported. "This thing is still active after who knows how many years." "Any signs of life?" Sarah asked. "Negative, but there's something else. The station is sending out some kind of signal. It's not directed at us specifically, but it's definitely a communication attempt." Sarah felt the weight of decision pressing down on her. The safe choice would be to report their discovery to the Galactic Alliance and wait for orders. But the aliens had sent them here expecting them to fail. They probably hoped the humans would be killed investigating the anomaly, solving the problem of their unwanted membership. "Can we dock with it?" Sarah asked. Rodriguez studied the station's structure through the main view screen. "There's what looks like a docking bay near the central spire. It's big enough for our ship, but we have no idea if it's still functional." Sarah looked around the bridge at her crew. They were all watching her, waiting for her decision. She could see the fear in their eyes, but also something else: hope. They had been given the worst ship in the fleet and sent to the most dangerous region of space, but they were still humans. They were still explorers. "Take us in," Sarah ordered. "Let's see what secrets this place is hiding." The docking procedure was nerve-wracking. The Resilience's sensors could barely penetrate the station's hull, making it impossible to know if the docking bay was pressurized or even structurally sound. But as they approached, the massive doors began to open on their own, revealing a chamber that seemed designed to accommodate their ship. The docking was surprisingly smooth. Mechanical arms extended from the station to secure the Resilience, and Sarah could feel the subtle vibration as the station systems came online. Environmental readings showed that the docking bay was pressurized with a breathable atmosphere. "That's impossible," Dr. Vasquez said, staring at her instruments. "The station's life support systems are adapting to our presence. It's analyzing our atmospheric requirements and adjusting accordingly." Sarah stood up from her command chair, her decision made. "Rodriguez, you have the bridge. Dr. Vasquez, Murphy, Park, you're with me. We're going to explore this station." As they prepared for the away mission, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that they were about to discover something that would change humanity's place in the galaxy forever. The aliens had sent them to die in the void sector, but instead, they had found something that might be far more valuable than anyone could have imagined. The airlock doors opened, and Commander Sarah Chun stepped into the unknown, leading her crew toward a discovery that would reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. The Awakening. The interior of the ancient station was both beautiful and unsettling. Commander Sarah Chun led her small team through corridors that seemed to pulse with organic life, their walls covered in intricate patterns that shifted and changed as they watched. The air hummed with energy, and their instruments detected power. Levels that should have been impossible for a structure that appeared to be millions of years old. Dr. Elena Vasquez ran her scanner along the walls, her eyes wide with amazement. Commander, these aren't just decorative patterns. They're some kind of neural network. The entire station is essentially a massive brain, and it's responding to our presence. Chief Engineer Tommy Park knelt beside what appeared to be a control panel, though its design was unlike anything in human or alien technology. The power systems are incredible. This thing is generating energy from sources I can't even identify. It's like the station is feeding off space itself. Lieutenant Helen Murphy kept her weapon ready, her tactical training making her suspicious of the station's welcoming behavior. Why is it being so accommodating? Ancient alien technology usually comes with defenses. Sarah studied the corridor. Ahead, where a soft blue light beckoned them deeper into the station. Maybe it's been waiting for someone. The question is, waiting for what? They followed the light through a maze of corridors that seemed to reconfigure themselves as they walked. The station was guiding them toward something, and Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that they were being tested. Finally, they emerged into a vast chamber that took their breath away. The room was spherical, its walls covered in what looked like star maps showing the entire galaxy. In the center floated a crystalline structure that pulsed with the same blue light they had been following. As they approached, the structure began to resonate with harmonic frequencies that their universal translators struggled to interpret. It's trying to communicate, Dr. Vasquez said, adjusting her equipment. The harmonics are incredibly complex. It's like it's speaking in mathematics and emotion at the same time. The crystalline structure suddenly flared with brilliant light, and the chamber filled with images. Sarah saw the rise and fall of civilizations, the birth and death of stars, and the endless cycle of species evolving and transcending. But there was something else, a pattern of conflict and destruction that repeated across the galaxy. Commander, I think I understand, Dr. Vasquez said, her voice filled with awe. This station was built by a species that transcended physical existence. Millions of years ago. Before they left, they created this as a test for younger species. The images shifted, showing the station's creators. They were beings of pure energy, but Sarah could see echoes of their original forms. Tall, graceful creatures with multiple arms and eyes that seemed to hold the wisdom of ages. They had watched younger species destroy themselves through war and greed, and they had decided to leave behind a gift for any species that proved worthy. Worthy of what? Sarah asked. The crystal pulsed again, and new images filled the chamber. Sarah saw the technology of the station's creators. Ships that could reshape reality, weapons that could create or destroy stars, and most importantly, the ability to evolve beyond the physical limitations that trapped other species. It's offering us their technology, Tommy Park said, his voice barely above a whisper. But there's a catch. The station is reading our intentions, our species' potential. It's deciding whether we're ready. Lieutenant Murphy's tactical instincts kicked in. What if we're not ready? What if it decides we're too dangerous? The answer came in the form of new images. Species that had failed the test were shown being stripped of their technology and returned to their homeworlds, their space. Travel capabilities permanently disabled. The station's creators had no intention of allowing dangerous species to threaten. Galaxy. Sarah felt the weight of her entire species' future pressing down on her. The decision she made in this chamber would determine whether humanity joined the galactic community as equals or was forever relegated to the status of a primitive species. Dr. Vasquez, what is it looking for? Sarah asked. Asterisk. The scientist studied her readings, her face pale with the magnitude of what they were experiencing. It's analyzing our neural patterns, our decision-making processes, our capacity for growth. It's not just testing us as individuals, it's testing Humanity as a species. The crystal began to pulse faster, and Sarah realized that the test was accelerating. The station was reading their thoughts, their fears, their hopes for the future. It was seeing the best and worst of humanity through their minds. Suddenly, alarms began sounding throughout the station. The chamber's walls shifted to show the space outside, where a massive fleet of ships was approaching. Sarah recognized the design immediately. Hegemony vessels, the galaxy's most ruthless military force. "Commander, we're receiving a transmission from the Resilience," Murphy reported. Her hand pressed to her earpiece. "Rodriguez says a hegemony fleet just dropped out of hyperspace. They're demanding our surrender." Sarah felt her heart race. The hegemony was a coalition of aggressive species that had been expanding their territory for decades. They had been watching the void sector, waiting for someone to discover the station's secrets. "How many ships?" Sarah asked. 57 vessels, including 3 dreadnoughts. They're powering weapons and moving to surround the station. The crystalline structure pulsed with urgent energy, and new images filled the chamber. Sarah saw the hegemony's true intentions. They planned to seize the station's technology and use it to conquer the galaxy. They had been monitoring the void sector, waiting for someone foolish enough to activate the ancient systems. "Commander, the station is offering us a choice," Dr. Vasquez said, her voice tight with tension. "We can accept its technology and defend it, or we can leave and let the hegemony claim it." Sarah looked around the chamber at her team. These 3 people represented the best of humanity: curiosity, determination, and the courage to face the unknown. The station's creators had left their gift for a species that could use it wisely, and humanity was being tested in the crucible of imminent conflict. "If we accept, what happens to the Resilience?" Sarah asked. The crystal showed her the answer. The station's technology would bond with their ship, transforming it into something that could stand against any threat. But the process would be irreversible, and it would change them as well. "Commander, we have to decide now," Murphy said. "The hegemony ships are beginning their attack run." Sarah closed her eyes for a moment, thinking about the crew aboard the Resilience. They had volunteered for this mission, knowing it was dangerous, but they had no idea they would be facing a choice that would determine the fate of their entire species. "Dr. Vasquez, will the technology work with our ship systems?" "The station is designed to adapt to any technology. It will integrate with the Resilience's systems and amplify our capabilities beyond anything we could imagine." Sarah opened her eyes and looked at the crystalline structure. "We accept." The effect was immediate and overwhelming. Energy flowed from the station through the docking connections and into the Resilience, transforming every system on the ship. Sarah felt the change as well. Her mind expanded, her understanding of the universe deepened, and her connection to her crew strengthened. Tommy Park's voice echoed through the station with new clarity and power. "Commander, the ship is changing. The engines are producing energy levels that should be impossible. The hull is restructuring itself, becoming something stronger than any known material." The chamber's walls showed the Resilience undergoing its transformation. The battered mining vessel was becoming something elegant and powerful, its hull taking on the organic curves of the station's architecture. Weapon systems that had never existed before were forming along its sides, and the engines were blazing with energy that bent space around them. "Commander, the hegemony fleet is in weapons range," Murphy reported. "They're targeting the station." Sarah felt the station's consciousness merging with her own, sharing its knowledge and purpose. She understood now why the ancient creators had left this gift. The galaxy was filled with species that would destroy each other for power, but occasionally a species would emerge that could transcend those limitations. "All hands, this is the commander," Sarah said, her voice carrying through the ship's communication system with new authority. "We are about to engage a vastly superior enemy force. Our ship has been transformed by technology beyond our understanding, but we are still human. We still carry the values and determination that brought us to the stars. The Resilience detached from the station and moved into space, its new form cutting through the electromagnetic interference of the anomaly like it was nothing. The Hegemony fleet opened fire immediately, their weapons designed to destroy entire cities, striking the human ship with devastating force. The attacks had no effect. The Resilience's new hull absorbed the energy and redirected it back at the attackers, turning their own weapons against them. Sarah felt the ship's systems responding to her thoughts, its weapons targeting multiple enemies with precision that seemed impossible. "Return fire," Sarah ordered. The Resilience's weapons were unlike anything in the galaxy. They didn't simply destroy the enemy ships. They disrupted their molecular structure, causing them to dissolve harmlessly into space. The Hegemony fleet found themselves fighting an enemy that could not be damaged and could not be understood. Within minutes, the engagement was over. The surviving Hegemony vessels fled into hyperspace, their commanders reporting to their superiors that they had encountered something beyond their comprehension. The human ship had defeated their entire fleet without taking a single casualty. Sarah stood on the bridge of the transformed Resilience, feeling the weight of what they had accomplished. The station had given them the power to defend themselves and to protect the galaxy from those who would abuse such technology. "Commander, we're receiving transmissions from all over the galaxy," reported the communications officer. "The Galactic Alliance, the Hegemony, and dozens of other species want to know what happened here." Sarah smiled, thinking about the alien ambassadors who had mocked humanity's primitive technology. They had sent the humans to die in the void sector, but instead, they had created the galaxy's newest superpower. "Tell them that humanity has evolved," Sarah said, "and we're ready to take our place in the galaxy." The Resilience turned toward home, its new form cutting through space with grace and power. Behind them, the ancient station continued its eternal vigil, waiting for the next species worthy of its gift. The galaxy would never be the same, and humanity had proven that even the weakest ship could become the strongest. When crewed by those who refused to give up, the age of human expansion was about to begin, and the universe would learn that sometimes the greatest strength comes not from advanced technology, but from the courage to reach for the impossible and the wisdom to use power responsibly. The forgotten ship had become the herald of a new era, and Commander Sarah Chun had led her species into a future filled with infinite possibilities. Asterisk.